Reborn. I decisively deleted all of Shen's contact information. He chose Shanghai's Jiaotong University, so I changed my application to Guangzhou's Sun Yat-sen University. The main idea is to be worlds apart and never meet again. When he returned to the country during the holidays and asked to meet me, I flew abroad for a vacation instead, blocked on WeChat, emails read but not replied to. As soon as he joined the company I work for, I immediately submitted my resignation letter. I don't even want to see his back. In my past life, I was infatuated with him for 20 years, and he let me down for 20 years. Diagnosed with a terminal illness in his 30s, on my deathbed, Shen is busy preparing for the wedding to marry his first love. The well-raised adopted daughter dutifully helps him adjust his suit. I breathed my last breath alone in the hospital room. I will never repeat such a ridiculous life again. The heart monitor emitted a piercing alarm as I stared fixedly at the ceiling. After struggling to live for 35 years, my life was about to end in this small room filled with the smell of disinfectant. Blood pressure is dropping continuously. Quick, prepare the epinephrine. The shouts of the doctors and nurses gradually faded away. I had no family by my side, no friends to bid me farewell. Shen should be at the wedding venue right now, placing that diamond ring he never bought for me on Liv Shu's finger, and our adopted daughter Shen Xiaoyu, whom we have raised together for 10 years, is probably obediently holding the rings for them. How ironic, the person I loved with all my heart is celebrating my disappearance at the final moment of my life. In the last second before my consciousness faded, I made a wish: if there is a next life, I never want to meet Shen again. Lacey, get up. You're going to be late for the mock exam today. My mother's voice jolted me back to reality. I opened my eyes to see my bedroom from when I was 18. Next to the light blue curtains was my desk, piled high with study materials. On the wall were posted the annual admission brochures for Shanghai Jiaotong University, April 7, 2010, 2 months before the college entrance examination. I have been reborn. In the mirror, my face shows no traces left by the passage of time. No wrinkles grown from long-term depression, no sign of post-chemotherapy fatigue, dark, flowing hair, bright eyes, a healthy body, tears involuntarily streamed down. What's wrong? Did you have a nightmare? Mother handed over the towel with concern. It's nothing, Mom. I dried my tears and showed the first smile after my rebirth. I just suddenly figured some things out. On this day in my previous life, I had an emotional breakdown because I failed the mock exam. Shen, who was still my crush at the time, comforted me, which started my 20-year-long infatuation. But this time, I ranked in the top 10 of my grade. Lacey Lin, you're amazing. My deskmate Su Yuan excitedly patted my shoulder. The math test was so hard this time. And you actually scored 138. I smiled but didn't rush off happily to tell Shen like I did in my past life, because I knew that, at this moment, Shen was by the basketball court accepting a bottle of mineral water from Liv Shu. In my past life, I tearfully went over to say I hadn't done well. Shen happened to be drinking that bottle of water, but I was so love-struck that I only heard his comforting words and didn't notice Liv Shu's sarcastic remarks from the side. Su Yuan, which university are you aiming for? I pretended to ask casually. Probably Sun Yat-sen University in Guangzhou. Both my parents work there, she sighed. But you know my grades have always been just average, in my previous life. I chose Shanghai Jiaotong University, where Shen was, without hesitation, giving up better options. This time, let's work hard together. I also want to go to Guangzhou. Su Yuan widened her eyes. Didn't you always say you wanted to go to Shanghai Jiaotong University with the handsome Shen? People always change, I whispered softly, my gaze sweeping past Shen holding Liv Shu's waist outside the window. Suddenly, Guangzhou seems quite nice. On the day the college entrance exam ended, the whole class had a meal together. Shen surprisingly sat down next to me. I heard you're going to Guangzhou. He handed me a glass of juice. Didn't you say you were going to stay in Shanghai before? I took the cup but didn't drink. The plan has changed, because of me. He lowered his voice. If it's because of me and Liv, you're overthinking it. I put down the cup and looked him straight in the eyes. I just think Guangzhou is a better fit for me. Shen was stunned. In my past life, I never dared to look at him so directly, always carefully gauging his emotions. Actually, he hesitated, then stopped. I broke up with Liv. I almost burst out laughing. History always repeats itself in strikingly similar ways. In my previous life, he also told me this news at this time. So I resolutely changed my application. Then, just as I was about to confess my feelings to him, he got back together with Liv Shu. Okay, I stood up. That has nothing to do with me. I wish you a bright future, Judson. After saying that, I walked towards Su Yuan under his stunned gaze. This time, I won't stay for him anymore. I deleted all contact information for Judson and took a short trip around the country with Su Yuan. At Tianqi Lake, it's so beautiful. Lacey, we're really lucky. I heard many people come up here on cloudy days and can't even see the lake. Su Yuan took deep breaths of the fresh mountain air. Yes, we're really lucky, I responded to her, but in my heart, I thought, I'm truly fortunate to have a second chance at life, and this time I must seize the opportunity. I heard Judson went abroad for a vacation. It's great to be rich. I remained silent. School is about to start soon, and I was at home packing my luggage when my email suddenly chimed. Lacey, I brought you a gift from abroad. Would you like to have a meal together? I glanced at it and deleted the email. Won't be seeing you again, Judson. The campus of Sun Yat-sen University is even more beautiful than I imagined. Red brick and green tile buildings are nestled under lush banyan trees. We really did it. Su Yuan excitedly grabbed my hand and ran across the campus. Looking at her smiling face, a warm feeling surged in my heart. In my previous life, I was obsessed with Judson, obeyed his every word, and distanced myself from all my friends. But in this life, I have the chance to make a different choice. Lacey, which club are you joining? I want to sign up for the street dance club. Su Yuan flipped through the recruitment flyer. Entrepreneurship Association. I pointed to a booth not far away, and the Financial Investment Research Association. Su Yuan widened her eyes. So serious? That doesn't sound like you. I smiled without explaining. In my previous life, I was obsessed with love and neglected my studies and career. In this life, I will reclaim everything I lost. Time flies, and I am already a sophomore. I developed a campus second-hand app with a few partners from the association. It started as just a course assignment, but it quickly became popular on campus. Junior Lin, would you be interested in having a chat? One day after class, a man in a suit stopped me. I am Ju Shuchuan from the venture capital base. And I am very interested in your project, Ju Shuchuan. The name struck my memory like a bolt of lightning. In his previous life, he was a prominent figure in the tech investment world, making it onto the Forbes list in his 30s. And now, he was standing right in front of me, handing me his business card. Pleased to meet you, I said excitedly as I took the card, trying hard to stay composed. But there are 5 people in our team. I only want to talk to you, he said with a smile. The idea is yours, isn't it? It turns out he had already investigated. My heart raced, not from nervousness, but from excitement. This was a crucial opportunity one had completely missed in my previous life. Ju Shuchuan's office is located in the tallest office building in Zhujiang New Town. Through the floor-to-ceiling window, the entire city of Guangzhou is in full view. 2 million, for a 20% stake. He slid a contract over. The condition is that you must commit to this project full-time after graduation. I recall your major is software development, which fits our requirements perfectly. I carefully read the terms, putting the business knowledge I gained from participating in clubs to good use. The valuation is reasonable, but I wish to retain ownership of the core technology patents. Ju Shuchuan raised an eyebrow. Do you understand patent law? I know a little about it. I closed the document. Additionally, I hope to secure a seat on the board of directors. I looked at him with a burning gaze. He smiled, meeting my eyes. Lacey Lin, you are unexpectedly impressive. The negotiation lasted 3 hours, and in the end, we reached an agreement, a 2 million investment, 15% equity, with me retaining patent ownership and a board observer seat. As I left, Ju Shuchuan escorted me to the building entrance. Do you know, I usually don't invest in college student projects. Why make an exception? I was genuinely curious why he approached me. There's something in your eyes, he said meaningfully, a sense of hunger, not something typical for someone your age. My heart skipped a beat. He could see it. He saw the middle-aged woman who had experienced life and death hidden within my soul. I hope I won't disappoint you. I turned and walked away without telling him that this hunger came from the regret of dying alone at the age of 35 in a past life, in the third year after graduation. Our company was already valued at over 100 million. I bought an apartment by the Pearl River and brought my parents from Shanghai to Guangzhou. Su Yuan became my marketing director. With Zhu Shuchuan, there's always an indescribable, ambiguous feeling. Lacey, the documents for the merger case are ready. Su Yuan walked into my office with a cheerful smile on her face. What's got you so happy? I glanced up at her and then looked back down to check the documents. Guess who the new CFO is? Without looking up, I reviewed the documents she had brought over. Who is it? Judshin. Fingers suddenly tightened, crumpling the contract. Surprise. What a coincidence. I never thought we'd be working together next. It's fate. Su Yuan was still immersed in the astonishment of the coincidence. Not noticing the change in my expression. Are you sure it's that Judshin from our high school? I stared at her face, hoping for a negative answer. Yes, she was transferred from Shanghai last week. I heard it was President Zhu who specifically poached her. Su Yuan looked at me with concern. Are you okay? You look very pale. I stood up, walked to the window, and took a deep breath. It's been 6 years, and I've deliberately avoided any occasion where I might run into him. Even making excuses not to go home for the new year, I never expected fate to bring him right in front of me. I'm fine. I turned around, my voice unnervingly calm. Let's get the meeting ready. In the conference room. Judshin, dressed in a sharp suit, stood in front of the projector introducing himself. At 25, he carried a maturity beyond his high school years, exuding an elite aura in his every gesture. I'm very happy to join this dynamic team. His gaze swept over everyone present, pausing noticeably when it landed on me, but quickly returning to normal. I flipped through the documents expressionlessly, but my heart raced uncontrollably. In my previous life, at this time, I was already his wife. Having given up my career to take care of him and our adopted daughter, Shen Xiaoyu, thinking about how I ended up dying on a sickbed, cold sweat broke out all over me. Director Lin, do you have any opinions on the financial budget? Zhu Shuchuan suddenly called on me. All eyes turned toward me. I looked up and met Judshin's inquisitive gaze. No objections. I put down the damp pen I was holding. But I have one thing to announce. The meeting room fell silent. I quit. Zhu Shuchuan caught up to me in my office while I was organizing the drawer. Explain. He closed the door, his voice low. Personal reasons. Because of Judshin, he asked keenly. You know each other? I stopped what I was doing. High school classmates, just classmates. Zhu Shuchuan approached. Your reaction doesn't seem like that of ordinary classmates. I smile bitterly. Zhu Shuchuan is too clever. I can't hide it from him. Someone I had a crush on in the past. At least in this lifetime. Is it worth giving up everything you've worked for over 5 years? He leaned his hands on my desk, just to avoid a man. Lacey Lin. Are you crazy? You don't understand. Then let me understand. He raised his voice. A rare occurrence. Lacey Lin, I've known you for 5 years. You're not someone who shirks responsibility. Are you really going to give up everything for someone from the past? I looked up into his angry eyes. The air around us seemed to drop a few degrees because of him. Shuchuan, stay. His voice softened. If you don't want to see him, I can transfer him back to Shanghai, but don't leave. The company needs you. And he didn't finish, but the meaning was clear. My heart ached sharply. In my previous life, I never had such a feeling. The feeling of being cherished and needed. I need time to think, I finally said. Zhu Shuchuan nodded and, before turning to leave, said, don't let him ruin you twice. This sentence pierced my heart like a knife. Yes, I've already let Judshin ruin one lifetime. Should I really give him a second chance? After work, Judshin cornered me at the elevator. Want to talk? He asked, his voice low and gentle. Reminiscent of the tone he used to coax me in a past life. There's no need for that. I walked past him. Lacey, he grabbed my wrist. Why have you been avoiding me all these years? I shook off his hand. Director Shen, please show some self-respect. I know you don't like me anymore. He lowered his voice. But give me 5 minutes. I have something important to tell you. Something important. I sneered. Like when you and Liv Shu are getting married. Or that you have a daughter and want me to come celebrate. Jude Shen's expression changed abruptly. How do you know about Liv? And I never said I had a daughter. I suddenly realized I had let it slip. In the timeline of my past life, Liv Shu should have just gotten pregnant, and Shen Xiaoyu hadn't even been born yet. Just a guess. I quickly composed my expression, my heart pounding wildly. Weren't you two together back in high school? The elevator arrived, and I quickly stepped inside. Jude Shen followed me in and pressed the close button. He locked his arms tightly around my shoulders. No, he stared at me, his eyes terrifyingly bloodshot. You know too much, Lacey Lin. Unless, the elevator began to descend. Unless you've been reborn too. What rebirth? I don't know what you're talking about. I avoided eye contact, the cramped space making me feel a bit suffocated. Jude Shen suddenly looked at me with a strange smile, finally reaching the first floor. The elevator doors opened, and I dashed out. Lying in bed at night, I still couldn't figure out what Jude Shen meant by that sentence. Could it be that he has also been reborn, waking up the next day with a splitting headache, standing by the floor-to-ceiling window in the office? I saw Jude Shen chatting happily with a female employee at the cafe downstairs. That figure was all too familiar to me. It was Liv Shu. She actually submitted her resume to Zhu Shuchuan's company. It was for a receptionist position. Indeed, with Liv Shu's looks, she is perfectly suited to be a receptionist. What are you looking at? Zhu Shuchuan walked to my side and followed my gaze. Isn't that Linen, the new intern from the admin department? She seems quite familiar with Director Shen. Linen, help me check her resume. I kept my voice steady, especially her educational background and work experience. Zhu Shuchuan glanced at me keenly. Are you afraid? I've been hurt before. So I have to be cautious. I turned and walked toward the office, not wanting him to see the coldness in my eyes. In my past life, Liv Shu infiltrated my life step by step like this, ultimately taking everything from me. Half an hour later, Zhu Shuchuan knocked on my door with a grave expression. You were right. Linen's resume was forged. Her real name is Liv Shu, a graduate of Shanghai Jiaotong University, and she was a college classmate of Jude Shen. My hand holding the pen trembled slightly. It seems the course of events from my previous life is still unfolding step by step. Even though I've done everything to avoid Jude Shen, can I still not escape the fate of a tragic death? There's something even stranger. Zhu Shuchuan handed me a document. The recommendation letter she used for her job application was signed by Jude Shen, but handwriting analysis suggests she might have written it herself. Jude Shen knows who she is, I sneered. They're putting on an act. Shuchuan, I need you to do me a favor. He nodded without hesitation. Anything. Although I noticed they were up to something, I still didn't know what they were planning. Perhaps by following the clues, I could uncover the truth behind my illness at a young age in my previous life. I installed hidden cameras in the office, focusing on the file cabinet containing the core technology. At the same time, have Su Yuan accidentally reveal in front of Liv Shu the news that we are about to sign a big deal with a Japanese client. She took the bait, just as expected. 3 days later, Su Yuan rushed into my office excitedly. I saw her going through your drawer. The surveillance footage clearly showed Liv Shu sneaking into my office during the lunch break and using her phone to take pictures of the design blueprints in the file cabinet. What made my blood run cold, however, was that she even opened the pillbox next to my computer and mixed a few white pills into my vitamin bottle. Is this poisoning? Zhu Shuchuan's face turned pale. We need to call the police. No, not yet. I stared at the screen. We can't confirm if Jude Shen is involved yet. In my previous life, I was diagnosed with liver cancer at the age of 30, and the doctor suspected it was related to long-term exposure to toxic substances. Now that I think about it, perhaps it really wasn't an accident. The next day, I pretended to take the vitamins but secretly saved those pills. The test results were horrifying. Those pills were a type of chronic poison that causes liver damage. This is enough for a conviction, a lawyer friend introduced by Su Yuan told me. But we need more evidence to build a stronger case. I decided to lure the snake out of its hole. At the company's quarterly meeting, I announced a breakthrough technology that didn't actually exist. Claiming it would completely revolutionize the industry, Judeson's eyes immediately lit up, and after the meeting, I saw him rush to the front desk to say something to Liv Shu, who then eagerly started typing and sending messages. "They've taken the bait," Zhu Shuchuan whispered. I also found out that Judeson has a small company in Shanghai, which is expected to go public in the second half of the year. "What's your next move?" "Wait," I said calmly. "Let them walk right into the trap themselves." On Friday evening, the company system showed that someone had logged into the server using Judeson's credentials to download core files. At the same time, security reported seeing Liv Shu entering the road lab. Action. I sent a text message to Zhu Shuchuan. When we arrived with security and the police, Liv Shu was copying data using a USB drive. Caught red-handed, her face was deathly pale, but she still feigned composure. I was ordered by Director Shen to come and retrieve the documents. "What status does Director Shen hold? He has plenty of secretaries. Why would he need to call a receptionist like you to fetch documents in the middle of the night?" Su Yuan rolled her eyes, criticizing the lack of precision in Liv Shu's words. "Is that really true?" I took out my phone, crouched in front of Liv Shu, and played a recording. The recording was very clear. Judson explicitly instructed her to take action tonight and promised to take her abroad to rest and care for her pregnancy once it was done. Liv Shu's legs gave way, and she collapsed to the ground. "How did you thought I didn't know about your relationship?" I sneered. "You've been scheming against me since high school." Judson repeatedly hinted that he wanted me to attend the same university as him. "You added fuel to the fire, and I was so emotionally overwhelmed at the time that I ended up being led by the nose by you." As the police handcuffed her, she suddenly screamed hysterically, "Judson will save me. He loves me." "I'm afraid not." Zhu Shuchuan presented a video. Judson is shown at the airport preparing to board the plane, alone, with Singapore as the destination. Liv Shu's expression shifts from shock to despair, finally twisting into hatred. "Lin Lacey, do you think you've won? Everything you have will be taken from us. Just shut up already." Su Yuan crumpled a piece of paper and stuffed it into Liv Shu's mouth. Liv Shu let out a terrifying, howling laugh like a madman. Judson was intercepted by the police at the last moment before boarding the plane. In the interrogation room, he remained as elegant and composed as ever. "It's all a misunderstanding. Liv acted on her own." He spread his hands innocently. "I was just on a business trip. I had no idea at all." I watched his masterful performance through the one-way glass, my stomach churning. In my past life, I was deceived by this very disguise for 20 years. "Look at this." Zhu Shuchuan handed me a phone. We found it in the hidden compartment of his suitcase. My phone contains a large number of photos of my daily routines, with the most recent ones even capturing my apartment and the gym I frequent. Even more alarming is a folder named Plan, which meticulously documents my daily habits, medication schedules, and outlines of several accidents. One of them, circled, is labeled chronic poison. "This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision," the officer said with a grave expression. "It was a long-term plan." What disgusts me the most is that there were also messages from Liv Shu to him. "The medicine has been placed. In 6 months, she will die of liver cancer, and no one will suspect us." So that's how it was in my previous life. I devoted myself entirely to my married life with Judson. Every day, I only thought about making Judson happy and living a good life. I never imagined that the person lying next to me had been plotting to take my life all along. Liv Shu, being pregnant, was allowed to remain at home without detention while awaiting further notice. Judson was taken into the interrogation room, and he stubbornly refused to admit anything until the evidence was laid out before him. "Officer, I still have a business trip to attend to. You've really got the wrong person. I'm not close with Liv Shu. She's just a very obsessive admirer." Judson looked very anxious. If I didn't know the truth, seeing him like this through the glass, I would have believed him. Confession leads to leniency. "Judson, if you take the initiative to explain the whole story, we can apply for leniency on your behalf. Otherwise, officer, I really have no idea about this." Officer Liu sighed and projected the video in front of Judson. Liv, you love me the most, I'm just one step away, do as I say, and after tonight, I'll take you abroad to rest during your pregnancy, you can just relax and be a wealthy lady. The composure on Judson's face stiffened, and the smile at the corners of his mouth vanished. This is fake, he suddenly roared, all traces of elegance gone. His meticulously styled hair became disheveled from his struggles. This must be fake, officer. Someone is trying to frame me. Judson struggled frantically as the police repeatedly issued warnings. As the table was on the verge of being overturned, the two officers in the interrogation room stepped in and pinned him down onto the chair. The video is unedited, we've all verified it. We're confirming with you clearly here that in about a day, the court will hold a trial for your crimes. Prepare for the case to be closed. Judson instantly went limp, the light in his eyes dimming. He suddenly looked in my direction behind the glass and mouthed the words to me. I could have killed you before, and I can do it now too. You deserve to die. The police took Judson away. His words reminded me of my tragic death in a past life, and I was certain he had been reborn too. On the way home, Zhu Shuchuan insisted on walking with me. So, do you feel like you've accomplished something big? Zhu Shuchuan squinted and asked me with a smile. It really feels like a huge weight has finally been lifted off my shoulders. My tone carried a hint of lightness, but thinking of Judson's words still left me feeling a bit down. Suddenly, raindrops began to fall, and Zhu Shuchuan took off his jacket to hold it over our heads. Let's find a shop and wait for the rain to stop, I said helplessly. The rain poured down instantly, blurring my vision. As I reached a crossroads, a black car suddenly swerved out of control and charged toward me. At the critical moment, Zhu Shuchuan pushed me away forcefully. He was flung far away, landing heavily on the road several meters ahead. Zhu Shuchuan, wide-eyed, I screamed and crawled toward him. Trembling, I took out my phone, unlocked it, and dialed 120. A car accident has occurred at the intersection 200 meters from the Jiangbei Road Public Security Bureau. I held Zhu Shuchuan in my arms. He had already lost consciousness, looking up at the vehicle that caused the accident. I saw that the person in the driver's seat was actually Liv Shu. Her smile was terrifying. She must have gone completely mad. The ambulance arrived with its siren blaring, and the medical staff lifted Zhu Shuchuan onto a stretcher. Liv Shu was also seriously injured, with blood all over the driver's seat. So the ambulance took her away as well. While waiting outside the operating room for Zhu Shuchuan, I called Officer Liu, and they arrived shortly after. Don't worry too much. Wait for the doctor to come out, Officer Liu comforted me. Liv Shu, she must face the punishment she deserves. With reddened eyes, I knelt on the ground, clutching Officer Liu's pant leg. Get up quickly. The law will definitely punish the wrongdoers. It definitely will. Half an hour later, the doctor came out. Mr. Zhu is out of critical condition. We need a relative to sign some paperwork. Zhu Shuchuan's parents had just arrived 10 minutes earlier. Both elderly people breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing that he was okay. His mother came over and took my hand. You must be Lacey. Archwan has always been stubborn since he was a child. I often hear him talk about you. If he likes you, he will do everything to protect you. Auntie Zhu said this with tears in her eyes. Whether it's friendship or love, you must not let him down. I patted the back of her hand, feeling a mix of emotions in my heart. Is there anyone who wants to see him? You can go in now, but don't stay too long, the doctor said. Mr. and Mrs. Zhu went in to see him for a while and then said they were going home to make soup to bring over, asking me to look after him for a bit. On the hospital bed, Zhu Shuchuan was covered in tubes, his face as pale as a sheet of paper. I gently held his hand, tears streaming down my face. Shuchuan, why are you so foolish? Am I worth it? It's worth it. As long as you're safe. I held him, crying so hard I could barely catch my breath. Tomorrow is the day of the court hearing. I will definitely seek justice for myself, for you, and for us. On the day of the court hearing, in court, Judson's defense attorney worked hard to portray him as an innocent man implicated by an obsessive admirer. The video was described as a result of Liv Shu's manipulation of him. It wasn't until the prosecutor presented the decisive evidence, a parking lot surveillance video. In the footage, Jude Shun handed a packet of white powder to Liv Shu and clearly said, "Double the dose this time to make sure she doesn't live past next year." Lawyer Jude Shun was left speechless, and from the very beginning, Jude Shun appeared dejected, with disheveled clothing. A stark contrast to his usual polished and well-groomed appearance. Faced with the judge's repeated questions, Jude Shun remained silent. When it was Liv Shu's turn, Jude Shun showed some reaction. "It's all because of this wretched woman." "What did you say?" The judge didn't hear Jude Shun's muttering. "It was this bitch who seduced me. It was her idea." Jude Shun started going crazy again, shouting and screaming, and after being sent to the hospital yesterday, Liv Shu was confirmed to have had a miscarriage, and her mind was already in a daze. Before the court session, the doctor gave her a sedative, otherwise, it would have been difficult for her to sit quietly in her seat. At first, she remained expressionless and silent in response to the judge's questions, just like Jude Shun. It wasn't until she heard Jude Shun personally shift all the blame onto her that she broke down right in the courtroom. She accused Jude Shun of planning everything. In an effort to seek a reduced sentence, she revealed more details, including how Jude Shun exploited his position to embezzle company funds, and how they planned to marry me before my accidental death, so that he could inherit my shares afterward. Why, during the court recess, I stopped her in the hallway. "I don't understand why you would do this to me, even planning it since high school." Liv Shu seemed exhausted, not even looking up, unwilling to engage with me. "Where exactly did I offend you all?" I lost control and demanded. She suddenly laughed, a chilling kind of laugh. "How pathetic, you're about to be completely schemed against, and you still don't know the reason. Lynn Lacey, you're so foolish. Jude Shun has wanted to get rid of you since high school because your father reported his father for embezzlement back then. His father ended up in prison, and his mother couldn't accept it and abandoned him, leaving home. Meanwhile, your father got promoted because of it. You're the one who destroyed his family." This truth struck like a thunderbolt. What I thought was love in my past life turned out to be a meticulously planned revenge from start to finish. He pursued you and planned to marry you, all for revenge. Liv Shu looked at me maliciously. "As for me, I just enjoy taking what's yours. People are not born on the same starting line. Why do you get good grades, have friends, and even have a wealthy father? Am I not prettier than you? But what use is beauty? You can sit in the office and easily earn millions with your brains, while I only get the label of a pretty face. I envy everything you have, so I want to take it all away." After saying that, she began to laugh hysterically, completely turning into a madwoman. Jude Shun was sentenced to 15 years in prison, while Liv Shu received a combined sentence of 18 years for multiple crimes, which was later reduced to 10 years due to mental health issues. After release, she will be transferred to a psychiatric hospital. Ju Shuchuan has recovered well enough to be discharged from the hospital. I led the company in successfully eliminating Jude Shun's influence, and I have resigned from my current position. Really going to give up everything? Ju Shuchuan asked from his wheelchair as he watched me pack up the office. "It's not giving up, it's rebirth." I placed the last photo into the cardboard box. The reason I joined this company in the first place was to avoid Jude Shun. There are too many shadows here. I need a fresh start. Then, is the new company considering partners? He handed me a business proposal. I have some ideas. I opened the file, and my eyes lit up. This is exactly the co-working model that would only emerge 5 years later in my previous life. But the design is even more refined. You've been preparing this all along. When did you start? The day you said you didn't want to see Jude Shun. He said seriously. The first time I met you 5 years ago, I knew you would change the world. I just hoped to be a part of it. Sunlight streamed through the window, falling on his profile. I suddenly realized that this man, who had always quietly supported me, had such a handsome smile. Your potential is definitely not limited to what you see now, Lacey. No matter what you do, I will support you. The deep affection in Ju Shuchuan's eyes was almost overflowing. Then I have a condition, I said, extending my hand. I want 51% of the shares. Ju Shuchuan laughed heartily and gently held my hand. Deal, my CEO. 1 year later, our new company became a rising star in the industry. And today is the day Jude Shun's appeal in prison was rejected. He remains as stubborn as ever. Showing no sign of remorse. "Aren't you going to see him?" Su Yuan asked. "No need. I was adjusting the prototype of the new product. He's already a thing of the past." Regarding the feud between the fathers, I asked my dad about it over the phone. Back then, Judshan's father managed the largest factory in northeast China operated by Shanghai, wielding immense power within the factory. That year was particularly cold, and Judshan's father delayed paying the workers' wages. Several leading workers went to demand payment, but were beaten to death by Shan's father's bodyguards. Later, Shan's father fled abroad with the money to avoid trouble, and most of those workers, unable to afford heating fees, froze to death in their homes. My father, upon taking office, discovered discrepancies in the accounts and immediately submitted a verification request to the Shanghai headquarters. This investigation directly led to Shan's father being sent to prison. Evil begets evil. It's all the consequence of Shan's father's insatiable greed. Zhu Shuchuan pushed the door open, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Pardon the interruption, CEO, the investor will be here in 3 minutes. "What investor? You didn't tell me there was a meeting today. A little surprise for you," he said with a mysterious wink. In the conference room, I was stunned to see the partners of a top domestic venture capital firm, as well as my parents. "Dad, Mom, how did you?" "Xiao Zhu invited us here," my mother said tearfully as she hugged me. "He said today is an important day for your new career." It turned out that Zhu Shuchuan had privately contacted my parents, using the achievements of the past year to convince them that their daughter's choice was the right one. Since starting the new company, it's been a year since I last saw my parents. I hugged them, feeling a comforting warmth. "And this?" My father handed me an envelope. "You've always wanted this." Inside was an old photo of 6-year-old me standing in the Science Museum, my eyes sparkling with dreams. On the back, written in my father's handwriting, "To my little scientist, may you always chase the stars." Tears streamed down my face. In my past life, I gave up my career for Judshan and let down my father's expectations. But in this life, thankfully, I didn't make the wrong decision. I firmly believe that in this life, I won't die alone in a hospital bed. Loving parents, loyal Su Yuan, and my greatest support, Zhu Shuchuan. They are all my most solid backing. "Thank you," I whispered to Zhu Shuchuan, unsure of what I meant, whether it was the career opportunity, the reconciliation with my family, or the fortune of having him in my life. "Not yet," he said softly, taking my hand again and turning to the investors. "Everyone, aside from the funding meeting today, I have something even more important to announce." Under my astonished gaze, Zhu Shuchuan knelt on one knee. "Miss Lin Lacey, would you allow me to become your lifelong partner?" The entire room fell silent. I saw my parents' encouraging smiles, Su Yuan's tears of excitement, and in Zhu Shuchuan's eyes, the unreserved love I had longed for in vain in my past life. At this moment, I felt the rapid surge of blood throughout my body, and my brain seemed to be continuously releasing dopamine. This feeling, I believe, should be called happiness. "On one condition," I said, my voice trembling. 51% controlling stake, all for you." He smiled as he took out the ring. "My heart has long been your wholly owned subsidiary." This time, I didn't hesitate, didn't doubt, didn't fear, because I knew this wasn't a repeat of a past tragedy, but the beginning of a brand new life. "Deal." I reached out my hand, letting the man who loves all of me slip the ring onto my finger. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling window, bathing us in its bright and warm glow. The shadows of my past life finally faded away, and I, Lin Lacey, was truly reborn.